And welcome to Friday's edition to Deep Thoughts by the Dashboard. It's Columbus Day weekend. It's ridiculously dark outside. I'm not sure when the clocks go back, but I hope it corrects this super darkness. Today I wanted to talk about feedback. This week the kids were doing a writing workshop and I started trying to teach the expert groups, which is basically how I do the writing workshop in my classroom. We start with kids getting really comfortable with identifying a specific area in writing, and they work together to give feedback to everybody else in the class on that one specific area. So there would be 8 groups, and each one of the 8 groups are responsible for something different. And then this way, over the course of a year, when it comes time to ask for help, before they come to me, they can go to their peers if they have a particular issue in one of those 8 areas. So the idea is to make them better at giving the feedback to each other and learning to be a little bit more self-reliant. And yesterday in class, one of my students aptly asked, are we going to, is there going to come a point where you're not going to be here to really help? Because right now they're nervous and all of them want time with me, and all of them will only really hear my feedback as the end-all be-all for feedback. And we kind of started talking about, what it means to be an author and final decisions, and what if you don't agree with what people are saying. And I think that's people who write, we get very attached to what we write and therefore don't want to hear the feedback that is being provided to us. And I think that's a totally normal kind of thing because writing is so very personal. But what we do have to say is that if a reader is reading it and they're trying to help us, then maybe we need to consider at the very least their feedback, consider what they're saying and see if it makes sense. Now, sometimes stylistically we did it on purpose. Perhaps they missed the purpose. We need to consider whether or not we were effective in what we were trying to do. So this week I did spend time with students doing the feedback and working hard at making sure that they had their groups. Plus, I've still been conferencing with kids pretty much every day, or conferring with kids, spending a lot of time kind of head to head, really trying to think about the best way to improve their college essays, as well as this first poetry analysis paper that they're working on right now. I also did have the opportunity to go into my mentee's class yesterday for the first time and really be an observer for an entire period, and then provide feedback to him about what I saw. And what I thought was interesting as a teacher switching into this role that I am going to need to practice is it's very hard to concentrate on both what the teacher is doing at the front of the room and what the students are doing all over the room. So if I wanted to give him feedback about what I noticed about how he was reaching the kids in the space, something that I need to work on is, first of all, just being a better observer. I was able to notice a few things that I think will help, and I think that I also was able to provide him with some really simple fixes to some of the things that were going on so that he could be a little more cognizant of more student engagement in the space. A lot of the space was very, very student-centered, but he's a brand new teacher, and that is so not uncommon. I think teachers who have been in the classroom a long time have issues with being in front of the room, not circulating, doing the lion's share of the talking, not giving kids time to actually practice what they're doing, and then once they do have the practice, again relying on those really strong kids whose hands go up right away. So we talked about different ways that he could engage more of a class more of the time, and I think that is a really important thing to work on, not to mention, just getting himself, moving his proximity to kids to really engage more of them, get to more of them. There were clear pockets of kids who were stronger than other kids, and they all seemed to be sitting together. And I told him it might make more sense if he spread them out around the room so that they could be helping kids that are at their tables who needed more help as well. Just to try to establish different ways to help move the time. And then other things that could have been pre-prepared that wouldn't have derailed and gone off in tangents at different points during the periods as well. So, I mean, we debriefed right after the class, which I think is really effective. It's part of what the challenge of observations are with administration in general. They come into your classroom and then you don't get any feedback, and then I know me personally, I kind of stew. What did they see? Why haven't I seen it? Why aren't we talking about it? Was there something they liked? Is there something I could have changed? So something I really wanted to make sure I did for my mentee was clear both of those periods so that we could spend time really talking about how the period went, what he thought, what I thought, and really give him that immediate feedback that could be sort of applied today in class if he wanted to. So my last thing I really want to talk about today is enabling students and kind of taking the training wheels off. I mentioned it earlier in the cast here of a live stream about how kids really do start to rely on teachers for a good understanding of what they know and what they don't know. And although when they get to college there are office hours and there will be ways for them to get help, no teacher is going to sit down and tell them the answer or correct their paper for them. It just doesn't happen like that anymore. What they need to start getting used to is having the questions turned back on them and really, really thinking about what's going on and what they're learning in class and how they could apply those things to their writing, to their learning, and then apply it to other places as well. Anyway, I hope you found this really useful. Just a reminder that in another 2 weeks, Teaching Students to Self-Assess will be out with ASCD. There is a webinar associated with it as well that is, I believe, in the second week in November, but you could sign up for it and it's free, and I will be teaching everybody how to teach kids to reflect as a part of the self-assessment process. I'd love to see you there. Have a great, great day. Happy